Watch as ABC News takes an unexpected stance on Donald Trump. Yes, guys, I couldn't believe it either. It's pretty wild, but it turns out the mainstream media is, at least sometimes, turning against Kamala Harris and telling the truth once in a while. Why? I don't know. We can speculate on their motivations. There are probably some sinister ones at play, but it is still interesting and refreshing to see. So we're gonna get right into it, and it's gonna be a lot of fun. But first, everybody, do me a big favor. Like our video, share it around, and if you are new, subscribe to the Resist Mainstream YouTube channel so we keep bringing you guys this great content. As always, everybody, I'm your host, Darian. Let's get into the video.
And former President Trump's town hall event in Pennsylvania took an unusual turn after he was interrupted twice by medical emergencies in the room. Trump stopped taking questions and stood on stage for nearly 45 minutes listening to his soundtrack. The crowd slowly dispersed, but many stayed for what became an impromptu indoor concert. ABC News senior national correspondent Terry Moran joins me now for more from Pennsylvania. Hey, Terry.
Hey, Alex. So Donald Trump came here to the suburbs of Philadelphia, one of the critical battlegrounds in this battleground state, looking for votes. And it was scheduled to be this town hall event where he would be taking questions and listening to voters. And it turned into something else, as you say, when the candidate turned into a DJ. Donald Trump, in his 11th trip to must-win Pennsylvania, urged his supporters to turn out on Election Day.
We win Pennsylvania, we win the whole thing.
Yes.
In a town hall-style event in the western suburbs of Philadelphia, the former president stuck to his top issues, attacking Vice President Harris over inflation and immigration. He pledged to shut the southern border, end Russia's war in Ukraine, lower prices at the grocery store, and bring down interest rates to 2%, while providing few details on how he'd accomplish all that.
People don't think of grocery. It sounds like not such an important word when you talk about homes and everything else, right? But more people tell me about grocery bills, where the price of bacon, the price of lettuce, the price of tomatoes, they tell me. And we're going to do a lot of things.
But then, 30 minutes in, two attendees suffered medical emergencies.
A doctor, please. Doctor.
The incidents shifted the mood, prompting Trump to cut the question short and instead play some of his favorite music.
How about this? We'll play YMCA and we'll go home.
Trump kept DJing, and most of his supporters stayed for another 30 minutes of his playlist.
See, and this is exactly why a lot of people just love Donald Trump. It's a big part of his appeal. He's dynamic, he can adjust to a changing situation. He comes across as relatable, genuine, wholesome. Dancing with the supporters, interacting with them, mingling with them after. You think Kamala Harris is gonna do such a thing? Of course she won't. At the end of the day, Donnie T got the Riz, Kami H, not so much.
Well, in certain quarters of social media, people had a field day with that, and I guess on the screens it might have looked quite strange. Inside that hall, however, people were having a good time. What can I tell you? It did not seem out of the ordinary. It seemed almost intimate, and at the end, Trump did something he very rarely does. He came down off the stage and mingled with his supporters. He was signing autographs and shaking hands and the like. Today, he's doing an interview with Bloomberg in Chicago, and then he's heading to another battleground state, Georgia, for a rally tonight.
And a field day and a freak out on social media it was. Take a look at this. Eric Swalwell in reaction to this town event where Trump was dancing. This is very sad for a former president. Donald Trump appears to be brain dead. I hope his family steps in to find him help. Take a guess what Eric Swalwell thinks about Joe Biden's mental condition. Hint, it's nothing similar. And then this Aaron Rupai guy over here. Wow, this is weird. Trump wrapped up his own town hall in Oaks, Pennsylvania after just a few questions, and Radford said he would take a few more questions. More music played while Trump stood around on stage. Deeply bizarre scenes. Does anybody buy this anymore? It's just ridiculous. People are so unhinged and just sick in the head. It's like Donald Trump can drink a glass of water and they'll be like, oh, Donald Trump overdosing himself on hydrogen dioxide now. What's wrong with that guy? He's crazy. And then right here, 39 senior moments. Trump sways and bops to music for 39 minutes in bizarre town hall episode. Ooh, the horror. Trump danced with his supporters for a little over a half hour. What's gonna happen now? These people are wild. It's just nuts. Anyways, since all these Kamala Harris supporters think Donald Trump was so crazy and terrible and unhinged or whatever during this town hall event, let's see how she handled her recent public media appearance with Bret Baier of Fox News.
Frankly, exhausted of Bret.
More than 70% of people tell the country is on the wrong track. They say the country is on the wrong track. If it's on the wrong track, that track follows 3.5 years of you being vice president and President Biden being president. That is what they're saying, 79% of them. Why are they saying that? If you're turning the page, you've been in office for 3.5 years.
And Donald Trump has been running for office.
But you've been the person holding the office.
Come on.
Madam
You
Vice
and I
President.
both know what I'm talking about. You and I both know what I'm talking about.
I actually don't. What are you talking about?
What I'm talking about is that over the last decade,
But
people
you're the
have
lever of
become.
power.
But listen, over the last decade, it is clear to me, and certainly the Republicans who are on stage with me.
You know what Kamala was doing right there when she was telling Bret, you know what I'm talking about. Come on, man. Come on. Come on. Getting all desperate about it. I know exactly what was going on. She was expecting the Dick Cheney establishment treatment. Remember, Dick Cheney came out, you know, the warmonger he is, endorsed Kamala because, you know, she wants to get us into World War III, frankly, and Cheney loves that. Kamala thought she was going to get this little softball thing, this whole establishment treatment. Oh, Cammy, we like you so much. It's so good. And she did not get that, and she was pissed. And you know what? Hats off to Bret Baier for interviewing her and actually holding her to the feet to the fire. I love that. Now, let's see a bit more of this crazy stuff she has to say.
You call Donald Trump, he's misguided. You say now
He's unstable. He is unstable, Brett.
He's not well. You say he's mentally not stable.
He's not stable.
Let me ask you this. You told many interviewers that Joe Biden was on his game, that ran around circles on his staff. When did you first notice that President Biden's mental faculties appeared diminished?
Gotcha. Joe Biden, I have watched from the Oval Office to the Situation Room. And he has the judgment and the experience to do exactly what he has done in making very important decisions on behalf of the American people.
There were no concerns raised?
Brett, Joe Biden is not on the ballot.
I understand.
I love how she does this whole fake serious routine, but you can just tell she's so phony. It's so profoundly obvious. Also, if Joe Biden has always been on point and was running circles around his staff and was mentally sharp, as Kamala Harris likes to claim, well, how about the time when she called her Vice President Trump? Was he mentally sharp then?
Look, I wouldn't have picked Vice President Trump to be vice president, but I think she was not qualified to be president. So let's start there.
What about when he was saying that her husband was the first lady? All right. And by the way, that was 2 years ago. Excuse me. Not that her husband was first lady, but he called Kamala the first lady, even though she was his vice president. And that was 2 years ago. OK, it wasn't, you know, in the last few months or so. Biden has been in decline ever since he first stepped in the Oval Office. Anybody who's been paying attention and has a brain and even a modicum of common sense will know that. It is profoundly obvious.
And Donald Trump
But you talked about it.
And Donald Trump
After George Clooney said within a few minutes of talking to President Biden at a fundraiser that he thought this was not the same Joe Biden that we saw on the debate stage.
Donald Trump is on the ballot.
I understand. You met with him at least once a week for 3.5 years. You didn't have any concerns?
I think the American people have a concern about Donald Trump, which is why the people who know him best, including leaders of our national security community, have all spoken out, even people who worked for him in the Oval Office.
Well, guys, it's a long interview with Bret Baier, so unfortunately I can't show it all, but I do recommend you check it out. It's safe to say that Kamala was cooked, if you ask me. And with all that being said, thank you guys so much for tuning in. We really appreciate it. As always, please be sure to comment below. Let us know what you liked about the clip, what kind of content you'll see in the near future, and we'll see you guys again soon. Thanks, and God bless. Excuse me. Pure vodka. I needed that. I'm kidding. That's water. Okay.